So I am in Aughris. In this video, I've just got back to I'm finishing off Sligo and starting to move into Mayo, County Mayo. So I've done another up really early, driving all night, and I've arrived here. This is Aughris coastal walk around here, and it is sun coming up, some nice waves coming through. I'd actually stayed in a little cottage here in August whenever I was doing my Donegal Bay crossing. Just see it over there. It was lovely. So, but I hadn't actually. This is Aughris Harbour, which is because I'd paddled across Ragley and ended up here in Aughris. So, yeah. Anyway, there's a little seal. Sun coming up. So I'd managed to paddle across sort of Sligo Bay and skipped out Strand Hill and Ross Point and everything, and managed to get straight over here to Aughris Head. So I was here early in the morning and
Good morning. And I have been up since 4 driving to Sligo, and so this is the sunrise, and I'm on Aughris Head. So I finished up I had to cross this bay last time. So I'm heading from Aughris now round towards Easkey, and conditions looking good. I was just checking on the coastal path here what the swell was like, because there's been a very high swell lately, and I was just hoping that it would be doable, and you can still see some swell there, but it doesn't seem as bad. I think it's supposed to be about 4 to 7 foot. It was 9 foot plus last week, so this is better. Anyway, wish me luck.
it's not easy getting all the elements right, but there was sometimes you're like, oh yes, brilliant. There's no wind, and then you look at the swell and you're like, oh, that's not going to work.
Just got here 8 a.m. and I've been driving.
So listen to it, just more chat about. Anyway, so this is where I am here, Aughris Head, and I'm making my way now along here to Easkey. Sort of, I'm by myself, so I'm jumping in and I'm paddling around, and then I'm getting back out, and then moving on to the next bit and driving round, and that's how. So I'm kind of doing double. It's very slow, right? Richard's like, "Are you crazy? Just doing this by yourself?" But nobody would get up with me at that time in the morning and drive across. In fact, I'd been doing it so regularly in September and into October. I was exhausted, but I just decided to pick the really good days, get up really early and drive and do it, and then drive back. So that was how I was making progress. And this is me just getting in here, carrying the board down, and then paddling out and heading round. So it's nice and flat, as you can see. And then I got round, and then I came into this, which was like sea of bubbles. And then you can see there is swell out here. But this was lovely. It's probably just churned up from the swell. But, you know, I always did love seeing bubbles in the sea. But actually, you know, it really is probably wash from the fields. It's probably pollution and chemicals, which is the sad thing. That's kind of what I've seen the most driving around or paddling around Ireland is not so much rubbish in the sea, but I think evidence of chemicals washing in from the fields, which is quite unfortunate. Here I am, and there was like a big carpet of bubbles. I just have to stop for a moment because it was lovely. And this is Aughris Head. Just having a little moment going round. That's very, very nice. No, it's just, look, you can see it on here, the fog. I'm just a bit nervous of fog. I have had an incident in the fog, which was quite scary. So yeah, a few things happened to me on my paddle around Ireland, and I'm now very cautious of fog. And it's one of those things that you just, there's no way of knowing what it's doing. Is it coming in? Is it going out? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get less? So I paddled as far around as I could until I got to a point where I just thought, oh, and then I had a little seal pop up too. But you can see the swell. It's still pumping out there, and you know, it's lovely sunrise, sun coming up. You know, it's not flat by any means. And I am by myself. So this is me when I got out.
Hi there, here I am, Aughris Pier. I've just come in. I was paddling around Aughris towards Easkey, and there's really quite big swell out there today. It's supposed to be 7 to 9 foot, but it was quite big in places. So I had to paddle out and out and out to get around it, and then I could see some fog, so I paddled back in. Didn't fancy being out there in those waves in the fog. So anyway, back in, safe and sound. It is calming. It's probably just because I was here at sunrise and the fog was a bit bigger then. Anyway, back in.
And then this is my driving out until the cows on the fields. Crossing the roads. Ireland. And nice, this is, we're coming into Easkey, I think. That was just a little pier. Oh no, this is the pier I was going down to. I found another pier, Paul Nadiva Pier. Now I'd seen it on the map, but I couldn't see how to get down to it. Sometimes it's not that clear how it's like local knowledge to try and find your way around. The paths are so small, but I mean the roads can be so narrow in places. It's not really a road, but I found this pier when I was driving past it, which was perfect because it was just on round from Aughris, so I was able to get back in again. This is it here. Nice. I love just pier to pier because that keeps me quite dry. You know, it's cool too if you're in and out of the water the whole time. I like to stay dry if I can. And this is me parked and down in the pier.
So here I am at another little pier, got the name of it, you know, and I saw it on the map on Google Earth and then didn't see how there was any way of getting down to it. And anyway, as luck would have it, I was driving from Aughris, which is just over there, I've just been from, see Aughris Head behind me. This wee pier arrived, so it's perfect. I'm right in between Easkey and Aughris, so I'm gonna do a little bit back and forth here and see if I can get, I'm aiming to get towards Easkey now. And it's calming, getting flatter, which is great for me.
I know it was just lovely and calm in here. Look how flat it is and still. So off I went, paddling out the pier, able to stand because it's so calm. And then you can see some waves over here. This coast is just like that. That's what I discovered with Sligo. You'll just find waves, even though it's flat. There's just areas where you just get these like sort of spikes of waves coming up, which I suppose why Sligo's so popular for for surfing. Anyway, this is me. And it's cooler now, so full wetsuit on. Got my personal beacon locator and my radios on. And that was Dromore, west, and just heading on round towards Easkey now on the coast road. So this is here, and I was quite curious because I've heard a lot about Easkey. I've never been, and here we are. There's the surfers out, and you can see some swell coming in. I was expecting a beach. It's very rocky. You'd need to know what you're doing out there because you'd end up on these rocks. Anyway, lots of people, a lot of cars all parked and surfers coming in and out. And Rosslea Castle is the little castle that's down there. That's it. And that's the pier. So I was literally checking it out. It was getting late and it was low tide, I think. And it was actually just quite tricky looking getting out. So I didn't quite fancy it on my racing board. So at this point, I thought I'd just call it a day.
This is Easkey. Sligo.
All the vans, you can see all the camper vans and everything up here. It's a popular spot. But yeah, it was at high tide. It was just looking quite tricky to get out. You know, there was a bit of swell coming right in to the harbour, but just with it being a long day and an early start, I was just not so sure. So I went home and I got up again.
Good morning. So it's 4:30 in the morning and I'm in Belfast and I'm just heading off to Sligo to do some paddleboarding. I finished up around Easkey yesterday. Everyone thinks I'm totally mad because I am literally driving there, paddling for a few hours and driving back. I actually have appointments in the evening. But anyway, sometimes you just got to do these things. It's Halloween and my son wants to have fun and spend Halloween with his friends and family. So I'm just going to go back and forth and do a bit each day when I can. Bye for now. Wish me luck.
So yeah, so I was driving back and forth every day, like 5 hours. It was Halloween with so many things going on for Halloween, and nobody wanted to come with me. So I just was staying in Belfast. I think Jack was joining in all the festivities. We'd actually spent a night in Derry, London Derry, watching the Halloween parade, and then I'd driven to Sligo and then back, literally back and forth. Everyone thought I was crazy there. I just took that by mistake, but that was me leaving the house at 4:30 in the morning on Wednesday, the 30th of October. So it was like Halloween. Anyway, so I drove here the next day. So that was Pullaheny, which is the next pier down from Easkey. So I thought, let's see what this is like. Is this going to be any easier getting in and I can paddle back? It's kind of what I was thinking. And there's a little harbour bar there. Again, not a sandy beach, but rocks. And so this is me coming down, no one around. Now it does look quite flat here, but there is swell. In fact, it does look like surfers come out here too. But
Literally, feel like I've driven all night. Got up at 4. It was 3:30 actually. Woke up before my alarm and drove all night to get here. Not the most exciting place, but it's a pier, and on the Wild Atlantic Way, it seems to be the best way for me to get in and out of the sea. This is Pullaheny Pier, which I was here yesterday actually, and I couldn't find it. It's just about to see it on the map, and it's quite hard to find a road to get down here. But I found it today, different route. So here I am, Pullaheny Pier, and I'm going to paddle up towards Easkey and then across. Although it looks really foggy at the minute, in the scrums down this way, and I was hoping to head across the water here, but it's very foggy, so we'll see if that looks. Anyway, wish me luck.
so I was gonna have to go out. You can nearly hear it, but it is flat here, but there is swell here, and I'm on my racing board, which is not the greatest thing for waves. And anyway, and so I was able to go up the way towards Easkey, and again, these sort of freak waves coming out from all over the place. But it wasn't, I was really hoping just to cut across here. But it was too much fog for me to be doing it by myself. Anyway, cows and sheep there, Pullaheny Pier. You know, this is what you see on sort of the sat nav. It's quite hard to find sometimes. But thankfully down, and this is me heading out. So these like crops of rocks going out, which causes a bit of shelter. And then these sort of little freak waves popping up every now and again.
Thank you.
And there's some little seals. I think I'd thought the seals were following me on my way back in. I was saying thank you because I managed to get around all the waves. And this is me coming back in now here because I'd paddled out. You know what? Because it's sunrise as well. I'm literally here first thing in the morning, and the swell is usually biggest. So you tend to sometimes paddle out and go, oh, that was easy. And then you turn around, you go, oh my gosh, how am I going to get back in? Because the waves are just piled up. And then I paddled down towards Inniscrone, and there's these windmills. I have sort of different things that I'll look at in the distance that I'll go right as far as that, and then I'll paddle back. So those are little windmills, and this is me paddling back in to the wee pier, and the tide's gone out a bit. There's just all these rocks. So
Here I am, just off the water. Easkey's behind me over here. I'm probably the only person that has been looking forward to a flat day to go around Easkey. And even still, I think it was about 4 to 5 foot waves today. And it was a lot of negotiating getting around them. And they just sort of come out of nowhere. You can really feel the swell pumping in the swell. And then I guess there's crops of rocks, and then these waves spike out. So literally wave dodging, and like most surfers who get there jumping into them, I managed to get around them and stay dry. So I've got that much stuff. I suddenly realized when I was out, I don't want to get my phone wrecked. I've got my radio, I've got all stuff on me, so I just try to stay dry. Yay.
yes, so relieved, staying dry and getting in. And yeah, paddling off the old building there, Pullaheny Harbour. That was a nice little find. And here I am on down now at Inniscrone. Lady in the coffee shop was really fun, friendly. And yeah, it looks like serious swimming here. There's some changing rooms, lovely harbour to get in. There's some swimmers going in now. There's my board. There's something about this legend of the black pig. Yeah, this is me taking off and carrying my board in, and then standing, always good sign. Heading out. That's the harbour behind me. And there's those windmills, paddling back up to them. So there's a lot of up and down when I'm doing it myself. I've got to paddle back to where I came from and then forward again. But the sea's nice and calm today. Still see it looks a wee bit foggy. That's why I didn't paddle across. And then, oh, I think that was Ballina. I was having to drive through there. And then up to Lacken Pier, which is the other side of that bay. So I'm now coming into, this would be Mayo now. A nice sandy beach. Here it is. So this was the bit, it was this wee bit here. So I was trying to cut across there, but I didn't. Didn't manage it anyway. So I'm making my way up along here now. This is Lacken Pier.
So here we go. I've just got out of the car. I have driven 4 hours to get here, and this is my third trip to Sligo this week. It's been quite exhausting, to tell you the truth. A lot of driving, but it's because it's Halloween and my family don't all want to come to Sligo for the week, so I'm heading back and forth. But sometimes you just got to do that to keep everybody happy. But conditions were so good over the next 2 days, I couldn't resist. I had to come down and try and get a bit further. So here we go. Wish me luck after all that driving. 12 hours driving this week. Yikes.
So yeah, I changed my plan because before I used to just book a week and we'd all go together. But there were weeks where we went away and it was terrible, the conditions, and just not doable or not very safe. So I changed my plan and decided just to go on the really good days, but that might mean driving there for the day and driving back, which is tiring. And I didn't always have company because it's hard to see, I don't know if anybody's free to join me. So I'm just trying to play it really safe and just paddle from the piers, really hugging in close to the beaches. This is Lacken Pier, paddling out here towards, I think Ballycastle is further on round, or Ballina is the next bit. This is what I was having for my lunch, or late brunch. Very exciting, and a boiled egg. I don't usually stop and eat, but I brought these with me because it's handy. Boiled egg and a smoothie. And this is what the conditions look like today. Bit of swell, but fairly flat and calm. And that was kind of the direction I was heading from Lacken Pier towards Ballycastle. And there I am out there in the sea on my route. And passing some beaches, little beaches. Anyway, this is me back in. Now, I think I've driven back down in to another harbour now, and it's starting to get a little bit dark, but it's this is Killala, sorry, Harbour Slipway. So you don't really know what you're going to get till you get there. This is quite an industrial one. So, and it's starting to get dark, but you can see the lights coming on. But there's a lot of lights. Anyway, I just need to do a little bit of this to sort of take me back towards Inniscrone. And it would seem to be like doable even with the dark. This is me coming back in again.
So downside about paddleboarding in November is that it's dark at 5 o'clock. I kind of thought I might get another hour in, but all the lights are coming on now, and it's probably safer just to get out. But I've got a lot of coverage today anyway, so happy with that. Constant changes throughout the year when you're going out paddleboarding, and you don't want to get caught out in the dark for sure.
So I just did that. That was quite although it was getting dark, I could see really clearly how to get back in, and it was very calm. And I treated myself to an overnight stay. I'd been driving up and down like a lunatic. So this time I found a hotel, all like last minute, literally. I saw a window and I was like, right, I'm going to go down and paddle another bit. And this hotel had vacancies, and it was really nice because Twin Trees Hotel, there was has a pool and a hot tub and everything. So look how refreshed I look in the morning.
Fresh. Just had a lovely night's sleep at this hotel. I don't often stay at hotels on the way around, usually Airbnbs. But this week I have driven to Sligo, my third trip, and I thought I deserved an overnight stay. And it was perfect because they actually have like a pool and a hot tub and everything. It's hard to peel myself away, although it's 8:30 in the morning, it's time to get going again. Anyways, bye for now.
So yes, up and away first light because you don't have any hours in the day. And that's me making my way out of that little town, Ballina, and then back to Ballycastle Pier Slipway. So making my way around Mayo Now this pier, here I am, and there you can see there's somebody else there. Now most of these piers I arrive at, I'm totally by myself, but this time there is someone being filmed, and it's a girl in a kayak. You can see. And that's her getting ready to go out in her kayak or canoe, I'm not too sure. And that's somebody who's following her around. And there's these stacks here in the distance, which is kind of where it's heading back towards. So here we are. This is me on the boat or the board, unpacking everything. Sheep, and then paddling way down there. Kind of interested that there's other people. Change 8:30 in the morning, this wee pier. And then this is me in the water heading back towards these stacks. Bit of fog. Always seems to be a bit of fog. But anyway, I'm just doing very short distances and staying close in because it's just me. Anyway, fairly nice conditions. I think that's her, the kayaker out there in the distance. She's a bit further out than me. There's glamping here because I had looked at the glamping. I was going to stay there, but there wasn't available. And there's some more kayakers heading out. So it looked almost like there's a little entourage for this lady that was out in her. Anyway.
So just back in the car, had my breakfast. I launched here at Ballycastle Pier and happened to pass around a girl who was launching as well, and she sounded American, and I have a feeling it sounded like it was her last leg to go. So she might have been paddling around Ireland in her kayaking around Ireland. So that's quite exciting. What are the chances of two people working their way around Ireland, bumping into each other and seeing what, coinciding? So that's quite exciting. And I'm not sure. I'll have to check, Google it.
Yeah, quite cool. It's cool hearing other people doing these things too, crazy things too. So there in the distance, you can see just in front of me is up the road here. This is, I can't pronounce it. Cedar Fields. Anyway, it's a Neolithic site. Sheep. This is what the scenery is like once you get into good part of Mayo. Is quite mountainous. And I'm on my way to Belfast Pier, which is this little pier here. Again, looks quite calm in here. A lot of carrying, a lot of driving and carrying when you're doing it yourself.
So Derrick Pier, heading in here, heading back towards Ballycastle this time. So progressing slowly, which is great. Anyway, it looks calm and flat, which is the main thing.
Also looks quite slippy getting in there, so it's very careful. And there, lo and behold, was the kayaker. So we were kind of overlapping a little bit. There she is. Looks like she'd pulled in here in front of me. She had the van driving around, which is what I'd been doing for most of my trip. Is I had Richard and Jack with me, and they would have dropped me in and driven around and picked me up. And that's what she had. She had somebody accompanying her. Whereas at this point for myself, I'm just doing a lot of this solo. So I am doing all the paddling and the driving. This is me heading out at this wee pier. Little Derrick Pier and heading out. Nice and calm. Look at that. Lovely. very quiet. I might have been sitting eating. Yeah, look, I'm having a sandwich, which is probably a boiled egg in a roll thrown together, and I literally wolf it down because I don't usually like stopping. I feel like I should be constantly trying to move forwards, and I can always eat when I get out, so I don't usually stop. But you can see there's the kayaker in the distance. Makes a nice change having a bit of company. There's that seed field place in the distance there. You can see it a bit more there. So it is Stone Age. It's the most extensive Neolithic site in Ireland and is claimed to contain the oldest known field system globally. So it's a famous historical site. So you could see it quite clearly from the sea. I was paddling up and down the coast here.
So this is Bellarig, and I was paddling. You see that there's a girl out there kayaking at the minute. I think she's kayaking around Ireland. It's really cool because I'm paddleboarding around Ireland.
Oh, I put this picture in because I really freaked myself out a little bit too, even though I saw that kayaker not long after her, and after I'd been eating my lunch, I saw something in the water and I was just like, what was that? That seemed weird, and it just happened so fast. And then I started, your mind just starts acting up because I had seen a fin whale. I'm maybe just a little bit more nervous in the sea. But I had heard that there was great whites spotted. Some of my clients will tell me all these horror stories, and I try to push them out of my mind. But then when sometimes in the water they come back in, and somebody had told me that there'd been great whites spotted off Ireland, off Galway Bay, and then I suddenly thought, I'm not actually that far from Galway Bay now. It's just on round from Mayo. So I started worrying. Anyway, this was now.
So I had heard that there had been great whites spotted off the shores of Ireland. That was what it kind of looked like.
I thought I saw
Anyway,
them.
it was quite terrifying. I paddled back as fast as I could, which was really slow compared to the speed that animal could probably go at, and I was terrified. But I didn't even stop to get my phone out.
I don't even know if it was anything, to be honest. It could have
Literally
just
just in.
been.
Sometimes you see things in the water and you're like, did I see that? Didn't I see that? But it wasn't long ago when I saw the fin whale, which was further on along the coast here in Donegal. And again, I wasn't sure I was like, it all happened so fast. And then but I had company that day, and it was a fin whale, and marine fisheries were watching it at the same time. But this time I was out there pretty much by myself, just eating my lunch.
So, and I don't know, maybe it was just something in my mind or something like the sea reflections come off the sea so quickly, and you see something light and then something dark, and it's really hard to know. Or maybe it was a basking shark I saw. Who knows? But it really did scare me, and I paddled back in as fast as I could, and I was just aware that whatever was in the water is much more agile in the sea than I am. But, most of my experiences with animals in the sea is that when I feel scared, and they're equally, so it's generally a case of one going one way and the other going the other. So I haven't really, except for seals who are a little bit curious, haven't really encountered anything else that's curious. So I've since then put it out of my mind. And this is me on the road again. It is lovely. It's so quiet and peaceful and just beautiful, countryside. A lot of peat and bogs and forest. There's some turf. And this is Mayo. We're into Mayo now. And then this was the last part that I was going to be doing on this trip, which was I think Porturlin Harbour, and this is a fishing one. So, and it was quite industrial. It was quite a strong smell, and you got off, you could smell whatever fish and they were bringing in, or maybe oysters and things like that. And anyway, as soon as I got there, I saw this dog, and it saw me, and it was coming towards me, and I was a wee bit nervous about this dog, but it turned out to be quite nice. And there was a man, a fisherman not down there, who's he was telling me that there's dolphins come in and they see dolphins all the time. I was kind of asking him a little bit, because I'd seen something, but I didn't want to say. And he didn't mention anything about sharks. And he was just like, oh, we have dolphins here all the time, and they have so much fish. And so he lived down there, right down there in the harbour, and an older man, and he had his boat. So here I am, just paddling or out around here, right, this harbour. And then this was the last spot, Port So this is making my way round Mayo over here. Not only can't see it on the map here, but this would be like Belmullet and Achill Sound, some of the islands which I was heading towards. I was looking forward to getting to the high islands because they're a bit more sheltered generally. This is a beautiful beach, but you can see there was a warning for swimmers, and again it was to do with washing. There's heavy rain and pollution coming from the hills, so which is a shame. So it's just like prior warning, not to get any water in your mouth or your hands or anything like that. Heavy rainfall, runoff from the hills is what they were worried about. So yeah, this is the last stop. Anyway, it was lovely. I did a last little paddle in there, and that was me for that trip. So anyway, it was all quite exhausting, a lot of driving back and forwards, but making progress, which is all I'm always just trying to get a bit further, just trying to get it all finished. So anyway, thanks for watching.